Hi everyone, I hope you are. This is CoinsKid. Just going to dive into Bitcoin once again. Thank you for support. Okay, big up the CoinsKid crew. So right now, Bitcoin, you know, we're all eyes on this weekly close. Last week we closed back inside of this pattern. Do you see this? This descending level of resistance and this ascending level of support. So you're essentially coiling up here. Okay, and all eyes on this week's close because at the moment this is a nice little statement just there from Bitcoin. You see the close above the blue line? That's a nice little statement because you're closing above a key level of resistance, which is a 10 EMA. Now, if you start to slowly, progressively start to close back above these lines, these EMAs, this is progression, and this potentially signifies that this is your low, okay, and your correction's in and your correction's done, and at that point you're beginning to retrace to the highs, okay, because you're now confirming that you're in an uptrend on the weekly time frame. Look, you're confirming your downtrend, you run into resistance at EMAs, you're coiling up here, okay, you're looking for some kind of direction. So one thing that gives the game away, if Bitcoin starts to roll and closes back inside of this pattern, okay, that would be quite negative for Bitcoin because you're losing the 10 EMA, and it's a bit of a fake out because if you start to close back below this blue line down here, then you're losing the 10, and essentially this little scenario here is your little bull trap and your little fake out before you do start to come and roll and have that sort of one last leg down there, potentially filling the wicks, if not going lower. Do you understand that? So, you know, this is what we're looking for. Closes above key levels of resistance or closes below key levels of support for Bitcoin. So all eyes on the weekly close. You can see, like I said to you, you're getting rejected off the weekly 20 at the moment. You're getting a hard rejection off it at the moment, and you are under the 55. You're losing the 20. So right now, if you consistently close under them, then you're confirming, you know, this is a bit of a bull trap, and you're going to continue with this trend before you do find your low and you start to come up. Now, there is a potential that Bitcoin starts to break up here and hold some back tests, and if it does and you start to fall back into that support, that for me is where I'm going to go long, because I do think that Bitcoin start to come up, and it's at this point we trace to this high, and this is the most important thing in this bull run, because if Bitcoin starts to come up, okay, and breaks that high, obviously you got a new all-time high in your hands. But if you start to come up off this point here and you start to fizzle out and do this, this is bear market structure, okay, this is your price compression, this is your capitulation towards the end of a bear market just there for Bitcoin, okay. So, you know, at the moment what Bitcoin's hopefully doing is we trace into this high. So I can show you your fib levels at the moment that I'm looking at, okay. So, you know, you've come down in this correction basically. What you did here is you broke out here, okay, you come back to support, you broke out again, you had your ABC, and then you come up and you've made two impulsive breaks here which we traded. Beautiful. And what you've done here, you're retracing right now to this low, okay. So it's really important that you don't lose that low, because if you do, obviously you're going to lose it low and come down. But for me, I do think that you know, we can't ignore this foundation that Bitcoin built in 2021. In January, foundation, you know, May, June, July, retest, look at the wicks, okay, look at the wicks, shows enormous support. I do not necessarily think that is going to be really easy to fall through, even though some people are calling for 20k, 14k, you know, 25k Bitcoin. It's showing strength in the charts just there in the price action. So I don't necessarily think that is going to be so easy to fall through. So, you know, obviously if you start to come down, you know, you capitulate. No one's got a crystal ball, but for me this was a solid foundation that 2021 gave to us, and we can't ignore that. And right now potentially we're sort of forming this foundation here. I'm not saying we can't roll and retest these lows, but I don't necessarily see us falling through them in some kind of, you know, black swan sort of death cross bloody zero sum game capitulation for Bitcoin like we got there, the Corona dump. I don't necessarily see that. I think that the price action and Bitcoin is too strong for that at the moment. Now obviously it could lead to that if we do start to do something like this, okay, we start to come back up and we retrace to, I don't know, the golden ratio, whatever, we come back down and test the zero fib and we start to do something like that, then at the end of that, you know, this is where you do usually see capitulation, you know, and if you especially retesting this support multiple times, at that point you're going to see your capitulation and your potential 20k, 25k Bitcoin price tag. Look, because this is your bear market structure. At the minute we're not seeing that. You know, if anything we're seeing corrective, coiling up, looking for a reversal pattern just here, which is essentially what Bitcoin's forming. If you start to break up and retrace, it's at this point, this down the line price action from Bitcoin, this is your bear market structure that we've not created just yet, which we got here, which you can see at the end of it, you get your capitulation, you get your price compression of a descending triangle, a series of lower highs, price compression, capitulation. Same here, correction, came up, capitulation. Don't forget that this particular capitulation was fueled by the Corona dump. Okay, so you know, this is what I'm looking for before I could say to you, you know, if Bitcoin starts to come up and does something like that and retest this zero fib, that's really negative, that's really bearish structure, but we're not getting it yet, because potentially what we're getting here for Bitcoin is just one big correction to this low. Okay, so you've come up impulsively and right now you're correcting to this low. If you hold this low, this was an opportunity, just as this was an opportunity last year, creating this foundation and retesting these lows. You know, it's not a bear market, it's a corrective phase of a bull market, because at that point we start to break out and we break out and we break that high at 69k. Sorry, that needs to be on the exact high. I do apologise about that. On the 1 fib just there, you break that, you're looking at a minimal 1618 target of 108k, you know, for Bitcoin. So yeah, at the minute you can see you've bottomed out down here. Hopefully we've bottomed out. Okay, we trace this low on the 786, we've bottomed out. Hopefully will be really nice, and right now we're looking at some kind of reversal pattern here for Bitcoin, and we're beginning a retracement, but you can see where we're retracing to. So you've bottomed out down here hopefully, and you ran in to the 382. Okay, and you can see that what you're doing, you're coiling up, and you're looking to get above that 382. So if at any point you start to see Bitcoin start to retrace and start to close above the 382 at 43958, that's a nice statement, because your next leg of resistance would be at 4795915, which is a 050 fib, and at that point, you know, after that you've got the golden ratio, you start to turn that in support, you've got the golden ratio there at 5228, and then you got 786, you start to break through that, then you really are increasing the chances of breaking that high, and that would be your minimal target. Obviously you're going to have resistance to the 1272, the 1414, and the 1618 would be that sort of end target of this particular wave up, where you potentially retrace and continue. Okay, for Bitcoin. So, you know, all eyes on Bitcoin. What we're looking for here is some kind of reversal pattern, you know, and negate this sort of horizontal continuation pattern. Basically, we're looking for this reversal pattern to break up against this key level resistance. If we start to see Bitcoin close the week above 382 at 43958, that's a very, very bullish thing for Bitcoin. So all eyes on this weekly close, because you can see what Bitcoin's done here. You know, you've actually closed above the blue 20 EMA, which is nice, but we do need to start seeing ourselves close above these other EMAs, which is a 55 EMA and the 20 EMA, because once you start to do that, that's a very, very, very strong signal for Bitcoin to go long, to begin this retracement to this high. And eventually, you know, what's it going to do here? Is it going to create this bear market structure, you know, this series of lower highs where you get the capitulation towards the compression of a descending triangle, which we always get in every single bear market. There's not been a single bear market where we've not seen that. You know, this to me, we're not putting the legwork here for the bear market just yet. Okay, which is why I still think you're in a corrective phase of a bull market, coming back to these lows, and you're looking for a breakout to the 1618 up there, you know, 100k plus. So that's basically Bitcoin. Hope you enjoyed that little update. Hope you understand what I'm saying, but we're looking for the close here above this level of resistance, this red line and the EMAs. Amazing. We start to come down and lose the blue line, okay, because look, you close above the blue line, which is 10 EMA on the weekly. You've closed, and that's a very nice statement. No one's talking about it. It's a very bullish statement. If you consistently hold that support, it's going to hold your ass, and you're going to start to creep up with that, because it's what the EMAs do. The EMA is amazing. Get them into your charts, okay? That's basically Bitcoin. Hope you enjoyed that little update. Stay healthy, stay strong, stay tuned. Take care, everyone. Back soon with another update on Bitcoin. Bye bye.